Hello, 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 hello. How are you? How are you? I am Nate, host of, for short, um, host of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I'm here every Friday at 5 p.m. Uh, for your pleasure and your entertainment, apparently. But today we have a special guest. We're going to be talking food and passion and all that jazz. Today's topic is, what is your recipe to success? Figuring out your, oh, sorry. I keep forgetting to turn my phone down. But figuring out those things that help you to succeed. You know, in today's world, especially in the last couple of years, last 5 or 10 years, there's been all of these gurus that come out with their method to your success. And you go through those methods, and for some people, it works. And for other people, it doesn't. Because I think we all are different in our approach and our intentions. So what would work for you will not necessarily work for the next person. So figuring out what best works for you. So in the first couple minutes, my little gripe session, we are almost 2 years into a pandemic, going into the third year of it. Um, in the third year of it. And I feel like these companies, I understand the mom and pops because they have less employees, but these big conglomerate companies, it is too much time has passed that you can't figure out your customer service call. I don't want to hear any more computer generated automated systems telling me due to COVID-19, I got to go around the mulberry bush in order to get my problem solved. That is your company's fault. Even something as simple as paying bills or reaching out to so you can hear actual voice. Computer generated information is just typically addressed the most asked questions, but it doesn't necessarily get you to your answer. So that's my gripe for the day. Come on, customer service, get it together. Even the mom and pops, you've had enough time to kind of get some type of system going, even if it doesn't work. I want to see some effort. I don't want to hear the same automated system from March of 2020. But I'm not gonna gripe no more. But there's no customer service if there. It, Thank you. Uh, there's no customer service if not they're all sick. But I've been working from home for a minute now, and I think we've had enough time to get the security features so people can work from home. I know too many people working from home for only customer service agents not to be able to. So let's get that together, figure things out. Take that rent money you trying to pay for that brick and mortar office and put that into your security features for customer service until you can open back up. Point blank, period. You got to know all your prices went up though. So I think you're making enough off of me to be able to afford security for your at-home customer service. But that's neither here nor there. If you're watching, please take a moment to like, share, subscribe. You can pick this up on YouTube as well as Facebook, or you can go to our website at www.beexposedradio.com and you can watch it live there. And if you click at the top of the screen, it'll come up in a few minutes. You'll be able to access this from most major, I think, if not all, digital platforms. So definitely stay tuned, stay locked in for that. Today's guest is Ms. Joy Williams. We'll be talking to her. If you want to be a guest, hit me up at either the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com, or you can send us a message at BeExposed at info@beexposedradio.com, and we'll gladly, I said BeExposedradio, I had it. I said BeExposedradio.com. And then we can get on board and get you on here for your personal life.
Okay, you reread that.
I did say BeExposedRadio.com. Is that separate, or we're not radio.com no more?
It's both.
Okay. So that's Marnie. He is our fearless leader. A couple more things. Check out the Artist Exchange Radio Show page on Facebook, Instagram, our Artist Exchange page on YouTube as well for all updates and things that are coming. I'm currently working on a couple projects, so you'll be able to find information there where you can watch me on other platforms as well. I'm just trying to diversify myself in this new year and get all that I can get out of this media world. So yes, thank you. And without further ado, our guest for today, Miss Joy Williams.
Hello,
How you
hello,
doing
hello.
today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Can't complain. Happy to be here. Happy to chop it up with you. See what this combo has in store.
I've been watching you on YouTube, and one thing that I noticed, you are a happy person, and I'm glad that you're bringing that energy into this space today. Because it's snowing, I'm looking at snow coming down out the window, and I'm not feeling that. But we can make this a great interview. Joy was recommended to me by another great individual, Mr. DB Marshall, and he's been sending us some awesome individuals. So you're next on the list of awesome individuals as individuals that we'll be talking to. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
All right. Well, my name is Joy Williams. I'm born and raised in Miami, Florida. All right, 305, baby.
Oh, that crazy Florida.
Yeah. You said crazy Florida? Yeah, they headlines always got something crazy with Florida. But
Is that
yeah,
where
I'm
you're
from Miami.
from?
Yeah, born and raised.
Okay.
Born and raised. Yeah, I am 27 years old. I am a career firefighter, but on the side, my true passion is being a vegan chef.
Okay.
And that's really what SB that's why he told you about me.
So what I mean, both of those fields are very demanding. Being a chef, as well as being a firefighter, I know quite a few firefighters who are awesome at what they do, and a bunch of chefs. But you've chosen to kind of tackle both worlds. Why? Why? First of all, why a rescuer?
As a little girl, I saw the fire department came to my school. I was like in like very young elementary school, and there was a woman firefighter on the truck. Before I saw that lady, I've never seen a woman firefighter, let alone a black firefighter, any of that. So it stuck with me. And just as I grew up, I said, you know what? I'm going to be a firefighter too. And so a dream came true. And at 22 years old, I'm 27 now. At 22 years old, I became a firefighter.
How are the hours for that? Because I know some people volunteer do it, and some people it's like a full time, part time. Like, how are the hours for that?
Right. So for career firefighters, it depends on the department, but my department is 24 hours on and then 48 hours off.
My God, my God.
Yeah.
How do y'all do that?
Honestly, with anything in life, you adjust, you get used to it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's normal to me now.
And of course, you're not rescuing and putting out fires 24 hours a day, but you're at the station or on call for that amount of time, correct?
Right. It honestly depends on what station you work at, because some stations 24 hours a day, baby, you on go, and then
Oh
other stations
wow.
it's a little more chill. So it just depends on where you're working.
Okay, okay. I know it's a field that can kind of get you into other fields. Have you thought about going the medical route, or have you been on the ambulance side of it, like paramedic side of it as well?
So the way that it works, I'm actually a firefighter paramedic.
Okay.
Fire rescue is combined. Well, for my department, it's not the same
Mhm.
everywhere, but specifically for me, it's combined. You can
Mhm.
even if someone pulls up to your house in an ambulance and a rescue truck, they're still firefighters. So we're capable of
Right.
doing both sides, medical or fire.
Okay. Okay. That's a. I mean, I've had to have the help of a firefighter before, and I know that job is very thankless because people don't think about them until they, you know,
Need help.
so, and y'all supply a lot of other services as well, but on the side of being a chef, why cooking?
Honestly, I got into cooking by mistake.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah, in June 2018, I
Mhm.
went for 1 month. I said, you know what, I'm going to try out being a vegan because I was on my health journey. I hit a little plateau. So I'm like, let me try veganism, lose some weight for this month, and then I'll go back. But I really enjoyed how my body felt. Like, I was like, yo, I feel different. I'm going to stick with this. And you can't eat out all the time. Whether you're vegan or not, you can't eat out all the time. So
You
I started
shouldn't. You
to learn how
shouldn't.
to, oh, go ahead.
I know I was saying you shouldn't.
That's a fact. You don't know what they're putting in your food. Very ratchet out here.
Yeah. In
But
terms of being a vegan chef, I know that is a specialty that I see a lot more people that look like us getting into. There've always been vegan spots, but I've seen an explosion of them. I've in the last couple of years here in Baltimore, we've had more strictly vegan restaurants. Typically, they have a vegan menu or vegan options, but the idea of just a totally vegan restaurant is something that, especially in urban cities, are starting to pop up on every other corner now. So you're more of like a personal chef, or are you getting a brick and mortar soon, or uh
Honestly, my end goal, I see myself being the vegan Martha Stewart. So it'll be more so personality.
lifestyle?
Yeah, exactly. So you'll know the name, you'll know the brand, but I won't be the chef in your restaurant cooking. You'll be at my restaurant
boss
though.
lady. She gonna be the boss. Say I'm the owner, not operating. But I have in the pandemic, I think I've stuck to vegan eating more than I have ever before, because it's hard. It's hard. It's expensive, and it's ways around it. But for the most part, if it's not something that you want, it's not gonna happen for you. You have to want it. And for me, I laugh a lot to people, but uh, I have to call my food something else because I can't just do the substituting method where you say I'm eating chicken, but I know how chicken tastes and how it pulls and how it fries. And it's just
right.
So for me, it was just calling it something else. What has been your specialty in terms of being vegan?
Honestly, I do it all. I'm really good at baking. I'll have you get you some muffins, get you some cookies. I'm really good at baking. I'm also really good at reinventing stuff. Right now,
let's pause for a second. Now, I'm on the other side, on the savory side of it. But in terms of sweets and the desserts, I don't think I'm there yet because
it tastes like chalk. When you go to these other places, they vegan desserts taste like chalk, and that you probably haven't had a good experience.
Somebody bought me some pudding. Now I'm not a big pudding eater, but I love a good banana pudding. And when I say it was avocado all throughout that, and I was so mad. And one, I know the food is can't be what I want it to be, but I need them to start working on flavoring and the seasoning of it all. Because I thought that's what vegetarian and vegan food really was, except when you get to the raw side of vegan. But it's all about the seasoning and
No,
you can tell me, bacon. How do you make this food taste good? Because you about to make me come down to Florida for a second.
Listen, take that trip and I got you. Big plates. With any food, whether it's chicken, whether it's shrimp, whether it's steak, you need to season. You need to use some herbs, you need to use some spices. I don't care what you're making. If you can make leaves taste good.
Right. I've gotten over textures because like the vegan shrimp, it's just about the texture. You know, it's many things that y'all substitute, but for me, mentally, I had to get over the texture of the food. Because sometimes vegan food may be a little bit tougher or a little bit mushier.
Yeah.
Like softer, not mushy, but more soft. If you eat an actual piece of chicken.
Got you.
The little stick being inside of the vegan crumbs. Mentally, I had to just get myself over it. But what helped me was I started cooking myself. So I understood what it was, brother. Because some of these restaurants, you eat and sauteed rubber bands. And that's it's just, but you have to start cooking yourself. So you're eating and it's cooked to your taste. So if I'm heavy-handed with seasoning, it's going to taste better for me to cook it versus if somebody else was heavy-handed with it. But why make it a career though? That's an expensive option.
Honestly, being vegan doesn't have to be expensive, and I get that a lot.
And on the restaurant side of it, like cooking for people.
Got you. Honestly, I'm just moving in my passion. I really enjoy cooking. And with all of the details that I learned, with the food industry and all of the lies that they've told us, not only am I on the wave of I love to eat, but also they're killing us. They're putting ratchet stuff into our food. So not only do I want to give you good flavor that's alternative from getting chicken that have all these hormones and been fed crazy stuff and they're under stress and all the stuff like that. But sorry, all the stuff you popping up. So outside of that, I also just want to teach you like, hey, you can still have good flavor and it be healthy for you. It's not destroying your body. It's not making your kidney shut down. It's not giving you ailments 10, 15, 20 years from now and you still getting that flavor.
Right.
So really, it's just a whole passion for me. So that's why.
And for me, I think if you're thinking about, for me, from my perspective, you're thinking about going vegan, I would suggest that you start fixing the food first before you like go out to restaurants to eat. So you're not supposed to be eating out every night of the week. But we're busy people. Sometimes it works out that way. But start at least trying it at home or implementing it into your diet. Just to go cold turkey. I've tried this since I was like in my early 20s before I even got really heavy. And I really tried to, I would do the cleanse and then ease into it, but then I would just go cold turkey. And then I'd be ready to fight somebody because I wanted a piece of Popeye's chicken.
Right.
But how do you suggest for people who are still on the go people and they have to often choose, eating out? How do you suggest that people implement a vegan diet in terms of best case scenarios in terms of choosing food when they're eating out?
Eating out. Because the options can be limited, especially depends on your area. It would be best. Number one, it would be best to cook for yourself, have your meals set up for yourself. When you go somewhere, have your snacks with you. But if you're going to be eating out and you're on the go, you have to know where your go-to places are. And a lot of times, like, when you're transitioning, you always having the vegan meat replacements, and that's cute. It's going to get you to get into the lifestyle, but in the long run, you don't want to always only have the alternative, the fake meat, the fake sausage. You don't want to have that as your main thing because you might as well be eating meat at this point. They're still putting a lot of ratchet stuff in that food.
It's still processed.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, and that's the frustrating part of it because you think you're doing something better, and it's not. That's why there's a such thing as, I remember, what was her name? Chrisette Michelle, she wrote the book about being a fat vegan because there are still ways to, get fat and you're eating those processed foods or still suffer from some of the same ailments because they're still putting things in that food to preserve it. And, it's still chemical based. Some of that stuff, not all of it, but some of that stuff is. Now, can you tell us the difference between vegan and vegetarian?
Yes, vegetarians, they still have dairy, so they'll drink milk or they'll have eggs, things like that. When you're vegan, you don't have any milk, you don't have any eggs. A lot of people, they say you can't have honey as a vegan because it's a byproduct of bees. I feel like that's a little, y'all doing too much. But apparently you can't have honey as a vegan. So yeah, things like that.
I never heard that, but that makes sense. It kind of makes sense, and that's the confusing part, all these different rules, because what we used to think was a healthier way of eating is now a lot of that stuff is being debunked. I kind of eased this go round. I eased into it by eating like Boca burgers and trying to transition myself out. And then I realized, I've got this book of I think it's like 100 recipes for a burger, which is my favorite meal outside of chicken. And I just learned different ways of making the burger, and it tastes good. I started getting used to tasting a Boca burger. Now, only because they put the little grill, the little smoke in there. So it gave it that flavor. But I started realizing, I can eat a bean burger. I can, I can fool around with cauliflower. But then people's like, well, no, that's not really healthy for you. What do you suggest people do when they're first starting in on a vegan diet?
Well, number one, I say don't beat yourself up trying to be perfect. Because it's a journey, it's a process. You're not gonna get it overnight. That's what anything, not just transitioning to vegan. Even if you're not trying to transition, if you still eat meat and you're just trying to eat healthy, it's all a journey. Don't beat yourself up. It's one day at a time.
Right.
So if you usually eat a tub of ice cream a day and drink 3 sodas, tomorrow drink 2 sodas and eat half the tub. That's progress.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so just slowly at your own pace. And don't beat yourself.
Especially if it's a health reason, really do it in moderation because it could shock your system and you don't
Yep.
want to be frustrated. For me, in the beginning, when I first started doing it, it was a lot of anger. So during the pandemic and me doing it, I had less of an attitude problem. Still wanted a piece of Popeye's chicken, and I'm not even gonna say I've been 100%, but I have a taste for it now. Even when it goes to just, I'm not a big junk food eater, but I do like my brownies and my cake and my ice cream. But it's just figuring out how to implement it into my diet because that's why I said on the sweet side of it, y'all gotta do better. I just gotta see improvement across the board because maybe I gotta come taste yours.
Listen, I actually in December I dropped my first ebook, and it's a holiday desserts ebook. I got cinnamon baked apples in there. I got chocolate chip cookies in there. I got lemon pound cake in there. Listen.
Okay, I hear you talking.
I understand. It really depends on where you go. You got a lot of these vegan places, and they ain't hitting. It make you want the Popeye's chicken. You like, what is that?
I say rubber bands. That's what I'm saying to you.
Come on, that's what I'm saying. So I got the flavor. I got the I got that da.
And then it's things like soy. Like I should not be consuming or over consuming soy as a man. And it's certain things that it's too many rules. So when are you gonna write that book? You're breaking a lot of these rules and helping us because people write about stuff, but they're not really giving us the honest truth when it comes to, it's you still have to have a diet depending on the individual and then whether you're male or woman and then whether you used to eating soul food or junk. Like it's so many different rules when it comes to how we should be eating. Is that one of the reasons you started? I don't think you finished telling us why you decided to become vegan yourself.
Well, I was on my health journey. I was losing weight. I had I had got a little chunky or whatever like that, so I was coming down and I hit a plateau in my weight loss. So that's why I tried vegan for 1 month. Like you said, in regards to what works for people, what should they do, what shouldn't they do, there's no general outline. Everybody is different. For me, if I consume soy, I don't see any problems. I try my best to stay away from soy, but if I do have it, I don't break out. I don't feel any type of way. My girlfriend, if she has soy, she's getting bumps on her face. She's feeling fatigue. So everybody is individual for everybody.
Man boobs, stuff like that.
Right, exactly. So you know a little bit about your body. You've been observing.
But it's something that's why I said this go round because I've been trying this since I'm 38 now. So since I was probably like 21 and I tried it for the first time, each time I've done it, I've been able to do it for a longer period of time. And this time I just knew I was more, in your 20s, you don't think about going to no doctor. You don't think about getting hurt. But now in my 30s, when things start not functioning the way it did when you were 10 years younger, you start realizing, okay, let me understand my body more. And I realized it was things that I used to be able to eat. One, they taste differently now. That my body reacts to things. I've always been lactose intolerant, but if I even try to eat any dairy, like it's not even just a stomach thing. It's just I feel it. I'm overly mucus filled and stuff like that. So I'm learning how to not just eat the right way, but just really understand what I'm eating, when I'm eating, how much of it I'm eating, and because I already have I'm the person that goes to a restaurant and I get the same meal when I go to this restaurant, when I go to that restaurant, because I don't eat a lot of stuff. So that's what made being a vegan even more difficult because that shrunk the food even more. In terms of us being in a pandemic, how has it been? One, on the side of you being a rescuer, how has that been? I'm sorry, that's what I've always called firefighters. But how has it been on you dealing with that health-wise and staying safe and being put in contact with people that are sick or hurt or harmed?
I would say when the pandemic first hit, it was a little bit more stressful because at that time I was living with my mom, so I would be a little weary of coming home because I just had 3 COVID patients today and they was in the truck and they coughing, so I would be a little more weary. But as time goes on, I haven't had COVID this whole entire time. And I just take all my precautions. I wear all of my PPE. Make sure if you doing all that, go ahead, turn your head that way and safe as possible.
And then transitioning that into you cooking for people. How did that, how was that for you? Staying safe and making sure you wasn't doing too much.
COVID allowed me to throw myself into the game how I wanted to. When the pandemic hit, the very first thing I ever sold was immunity juices. I'm like, you know what? People getting sick. This is what they need. So I started selling juices. I went from juices. I started doing meal prep. Y'all need to be healthy. Let me meal prep for you. So COVID, on the business sense, and it really helped propel me very far.
Now you live in somewhere like Miami. That's a big seafood place. How are you getting these people to, don't go get the crab legs. Come over here. How are you able to, manage that part of it?
Oh, well, my Instagram is fine lemon lime official. And if you just scroll on there right quick, your mouth will start watering. You will understand. Like, nah.
Well, I said I was following you on social media, but again, pictures can be looking like, I need to taste it. Even before I even open the cookbook up, I want to taste it. I want to see what it come out for you.
Gotcha.
And what that recipe gonna do for me.
My whole marketing ploy is to make it as desirable as possible so that you have no choice but to be like, oh, you selling? Let me get that.
And for me, like, it's certain things that I love. Like, I love a chicken cheesesteak. I love a burger. I love meatloaf. I just say all meats. I love even fish. I love salmon. So it's, I still eat it, but I'm not maybe once a month now. Or, every other week I'll maybe have some. I love mashed potatoes. Now I've learned how to substitute the cauliflower and make that my mashed potato and season it and, no butter, but season it and
they got vegan butter. You can throw the vegan butter in there. I mean, not every time, but
y'all just starting to get the cheese together. The butter not there for me yet. I'm trying it as it come out. I taste it. Maybe you got to start making butter then. You
can make butter from scratch, and also they have different brands. They have it's a really popular butter brand. I can't think of the name right now, but they have vegan options, and they have it made with olive oil, they have it made with almond oil, and it tastes like butter. Like, it tastes like butter.
I literally just started eating so they just started creating cheeses that I like. I've tried a certain couple different types of butter, and I'm just, I'm a country boy. You can't just give me anything and this thing.
Right, this butter.
You gonna call it butter? You're not gonna do that. They gotta do what it do. But so my topic for today was your recipe for success, and you finding ways to step your way into this field, because I'm sure it was the same way down there. Restaurants and people making dinners was popping up. I mean, they had the time and the access to finances now to be able to do that. How are you with the business side of it?
You mean, how is it going?
The next best thing, and my food gonna leave you, mouth watering. So how are you competing in this world where it was the last couple of years? It's been an abundance of new, restaurants starting.
So the way that I do my sales is not necessarily restaurant themed. I have a following. I got clientele that's hitting me up like, yo, like, when you cooking. So I like to do a scarcity type of model where you can't get me all the time. So when I'm doing my advertising and I gotta sell a week from now, tap in. So I do it in that way. And again, with the marketing, like I said earlier, I need you to, I'm gonna pour it on heavy. You're gonna be mouth watering, drooling. No, I need that. So that's the way that I do mine. You can't get it all the time. And when you do have that opportunity, people take advantage.
Okay. I'm listening to you, because when I taste the food, I don't want no hard feelings. But I'm Black. We eat at the drop of a dime. Somebody
Correct.
dies, somebody's born, married, all that, divorce, we eat. So that was a big part of my culture, and I'm in the arts. So typically, that's how we get to know each other. That's how we normally network. It's always a spread of something at an art opening or the opening of a play, or
Mhm.
we normally ate after rehearsal. So, and I came from a college world where, you had to just put it together and make it work. So food
Mhm.
was really important to me, and I'm trying to figure out ways to make that happen. Even if I'm hiring a chef like yourself, making sure it's flavorful, making sure you have that, because food is typically attached to memories. So
Yeah.
you have that memory of it, and you want to create that memory in terms of how you're doing it, because you're not necessarily brick and mortar, but it's
Mhm.
more private chefs and uh, more meal prepping, stuff like that. So why will we ever see you in a restaurant or your own truck, or how will we see you expand or grow?
So ultimately, I will be the vegan Martha Stewart. And the same way that like Gordon Ramsay, he has a restaurant in
Yeah.
Las Vegas Strip. You know
Mhm.
his name, and you at his restaurant, but he's not the one cooking your steak. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I plan to expand. People will be able to franchise out my brand and my name, and with the
Okay.
restaurant that I wrote. I'm when it before it open up, I will be in the getting y'all right, so y'all cook it how these people need it. But after that, it'll be my little mentees, my people that I hired, and they're cooking under my
So
name.
you're looking to train people as well.
Right.
Okay. I,
Ultimate.
I love that. I love that. I mean, a part of me, I've always wanted to be a chef, but in the chef world, it's a lot of discrimination.
Mm,
And it's very white male dominated, very
definitely.
male dominated, and young male dominated. Um,
Mhm.
how how do you want to change that in terms of the individuals you want to change? Because I was told at 30, like, you probably want to go be a manager at a fast food restaurant, but to be a chef, it was hard to break into it, and I just let it go. It wasn't my number one passion. That's why it was easy to let it go. But I know a lot of people who have gotten their feelings hurt because that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Even though now you can open up your own restaurant, but that's normally the hard way of doing it.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but
Yeah.
how do you want to change that industry?
Honestly, I understand what you're saying as far as like breaking in is getting hard and da 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 da. For me, I'm a black female firefighter. Let's start there. There's
Mhm.
not a lot of black people as firefighters to begin with. There's not a lot of
Right.
females to begin with. I'm already a double entendre in this type of world. I
Mhm.
move how I want. I make my own, and if I want it to happen, it's gonna happen. I would love to once I do open my locations to have more black head chefs in
Mhm.
the in the building.
Minority
I already
women.
know a bunch right now who, they're talented. Listen, I got you on. I'm watching you. I got you on my list because when I go up, I'm taking you with me. Um,
Mhm.
that's just how I see it. I don't really care about all those rules and stuff. I make my own rules. I live my own life.
And I like that because when you're trying to learn stuff, we typically go try to learn the white way of doing things, and it's typically is what keeps us behind and what keeps us from really finding that success, because we always trying to attach ourselves to how they're doing it so we can succeed. And typically, we're not
Right.
their industry wasn't meant for us. We
Mm-hmm.
want to succeed or just be a part of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always interested when I specifically for that field or just culinary in general. I'm always interested in seeing a new minority face dominating it, or at least making their own, like you said, way in doing it, because
Mm-hmm.
you're really setting a trend that wasn't meant for us. And many of our restaurants that we own don't typically last a long time.
Yeah.
And there'll be some good food, but it doesn't typically last, or the quality goes down because we're focusing too much on the business side.
Right.
How were you prepared to open a business? Or how did you prepare yourself to open a business?
Well, once I actually get to that part where okay, it's time to start franchising out, start hiring people, getting my plans in place. This is how I want the restaurant run. Yada yada yada. There will be teams in place. I'm
Okay.
not winging it. That's how like you said, our restaurants. Oh, it was doing good, man. What happened to so and so? Their food was so good. No. This is not spur of the moment. Let's open a restaurant. It's going to be strategic, and I'm going to be methodical with how I do my stuff. It's not going to open and only be there for 6 months. Like,
Right.
no, we hit a bill. It's gonna happen. We're gonna have a team in place. We're gonna have all the right lawyers, all the right people who know about franchising. Every piece that I need to put in place correctly will be in place.
So that's one of the things that I haven't seen done on a big scale is a vegan franchise. What type of atmosphere do you want to bring into that model? That many people, it normally is on a mom and pop. You have yet to see a vegan, maybe a couple locations, but I've never seen it franchise. So what do you think you're going to bring to that business model?
Have you ever been to finger licking?
I haven't been there. That's one I haven't been there.
Got you. Okay, so let me kind of give you a detailed explanation. So, it's Black people. We got flavor. We got season touch. We got soul to us. Place where you come in, the music popping. You can get your fat options. You got the little fried this, fried that, biscuit this. You got your brunch options, huh? You got your dinner options. You got cute little lunch menus, happy hour, things like that. I want it to be a vibe. It's not necessarily just about the food. Of course, the food is going to be good, but what gets people to continue to come back and talk about you is the vibe, how they feel. Now they're gonna be like, man, I had them good chicken and waffles at Five Lemon Lounge, and the music was popping. Oh, and they had unlimited mimosas. It's the experience that we bring. So that's how I envision the restaurants.
Okay. I love it. I can't wait to see it happen because that's something that is really important to me now. Like the way I eat is very important to me because that's the one thing that you can control that we often lose control because we either ordering out too much or eating all the wrong things. But I wish you much success in that because I know that's an uncharted field in terms of where you want to take it. Right. Anybody can open up a restaurant, but when you think as far as expanding, franchising, education, that is a vital part to keep people that look like us going. Is the educational portion of it. So teaching people not only the art of cooking, but just the art of eating, healthy eating. That's very important for us. Being in a city like you're in, where it's already a big industry to eat opposite of what you're doing. That's a big feat to take on because, people don't like people coming in and dominating.
Yeah.
Or knock you down, trying. But I wish you so much success in doing that and so much luck in doing that because it's just something that we don't see happening right now. And how important is it for you to be a Black business owner or call yourself a Black business owner?
I take a lot of pride in that. I really do. Because if you leave it to the media outlets to, give people the perception and view of Black people, you'll be thinking we little bums on the street. Every time they doing an interview, something happened, they do an interview, they got the worst display of Black people to do an interview with. So it means a lot. I take a lot of pride in it.
Now you live in Florida. And Florida don't have the best reputation right now because the Republicans is really making y'all look bad. Yeah. More so than the crime itself or just, things that just happen naturally. How would you like to change the atmosphere of your, I know I don't want to say state right now, but your city? How do you want to at least start from your city? I don't want to put the state on your back right now. But how do you feel like your contribution, you being a great citizen, doing great things, how do you think you can kind of curb that? And can you explain what it's like being there? Is it like what because I know Baltimore gets that, oh my God, it's horrible, y'all killing each other, so I know the day-to-day may not be like that. So what's the atmosphere like there in terms of the day-to-day? And then how do you think you can contribute to kind of turning around that narrative that people have of Florida?
The atmosphere, like with any state, any place you go, any country, it all depends on exactly where you are and what you're engaging in, who you're, who you're around. I know where to go and it looked like what's on TV. But I also, in my day-to-day, the places that I navigate, who I'm around, is very regular. It's regular life. You know what I'm saying? It's there.
Right.
Oh, I'm in Florida and it's hectic out here. Is it's not like that.
Yeah.
In regards to how I can make an impact, make a change. One of the first things you said when we got on is that you can tell that I'm a happy person and I'm very jolly, things like that. That's just who I am. That's what I embody. I'm very positive. I'm very uplifting. I like to enlighten. That's who I am at my core. So whatever I do is automatically going to have that coded in it all over the place. So just me being who I am and making the moves that I'm making is going to be good vibes everywhere. And I think that it will, not think, I already know that it will encourage people to do the same and not only change their lives, but also do more positive things.
So tell us, we're not finished yet, but I want you to throw out the information on how people can find you, your book that's coming out, and how could somebody order your food, and when you gonna start making long distance deliveries.
When you gonna start shipping plates, sweetie? Listen,
They
man.
got dry ice out there. They got dry ice.
They do. They do. You have to be like the millionth person to ask me that. And you know what? I'm going to sit down.
What's my prize?
Your prize is a free plate. But once I actually sit down and figure this out, I might be able to ship you some cookies or something.
That's why I said the baked goods. I've got baked goods from England, so I know they can come from Florida.
Okay.
So in terms of that part of it, where are you in the business model in terms of expanding in that way right now? I know right now you're thinking about franchising, but where you at right now, what can you do in terms of getting me the goods?
Again, all right. So for me right now, I'm starting to step away from direct to consumer stuff because ultimately I want to be able to put Fine Lemon Lime on automation.
Okay.
That's where I'm stepping away from. I stopped doing meal prep every week because, again, I want to focus on getting to that status of being the vegan market steward. So it's more hands off. I do specific sales now. I advertise way in advance, build up the hype. So when it comes, you're like, man, I've been seeing this plate in different ways for the past 2 weeks. I want it. So that's kind of where I am now. You would have to be in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, something like that, to get a plate from me at this space in my life. Okay. I'm heavily focusing on building a brand. I'm on YouTube under Fine Lemon Lime. I'm already writing my schedule for what videos I want to make and upload this year. This month, the next month, I'm already writing it. So that's where I am now. So Fine Lemon Lime. I'm on Instagram, Fine Lemon Lime Official.
Can you spell that for me real quick?
Fine, 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 Lemon Lime Official.
Okay.
That's me on Instagram. And so I'm just here making the mouths water and getting on YouTube, showing you how to whip up different things and building up the brand, building up the recognition so that when people see Fine Lemon Lime, they already know what it is and they're going to want to already eat at the restaurant because they've been seeing me for years and they want my food.
And it's really, I love seeing this type of entrepreneurship happen because you can tell somebody is taking the time to really put into the business model and the business plan, and not just trying to get something out there. Because for me, it's about quality, especially when you're dealing with people's stomachs. It's about quality. I used to actually, I still carry my syrup safe. I teach the course, so knowing how somebody gets sick, knowing temperature, time of use, all those things, that as Black people we normally play it by ear. Right. But realizing, why did I get sick that Christmas? Because you left the food sit down and you've been eating that food a couple days over the expiration date. How I'm sure those things, but how important is that in terms of the education of the people that are working for you and supporting you and will be working for you in the future?
Once I get to that point where I have employees underneath me and they're handling the food, things like that, they're going to go through from A to Z, everything, all the precautions, how it's going to be cooked, how it's going to be stored, how it's prepared, everything. There's going to be like mini boot camps taken in place. So
will your restaurants include that meal prep option, or will that be part of what you do in the future, or will you kind of slowly move away from that?
Honestly, I plan on having several different models of restaurants. There will be like one that's like, yeah, this is the bread and butter fine lemon lime, but I also do plan on having some sort of kava bar. I also do plan on having a meal prep because there's a lot of like jet fuel meals and things like that. There's a lot of companies that specialize in meal prep, but there's nobody that specializes in vegan meal prep. Yeah. So I have a lot of ideas, but again, I can't be trying to do this. I want to focus in on the bread and butter, build up the brand and going, and then it's game over.
So in terms of meal prepping in general, and I'm going to get off of this afterwards, but what's your method in keeping that quality? Because I've done a couple of those meal prep companies and the quality isn't always good. I don't typically like cooked frozen food. So when you go to thaw that out, it doesn't always taste the same. And I'm quite sure with vegan, it's probably going to taste worse. So how do you keep the quality of your food? Once you freeze something, it doesn't always come out the way it was when you cooked it. How do you keep the quality, or how do you suggest people who want to start meal prepping keep the quality of their food together, specifically for vegans?
I think the first thing is what meal you're actually making. There's when I was doing meal prep, there's certain dishes that even though I kill it, I won't put it in meal prep because it doesn't rewarm the same.
Yeah.
So you got to start there with what meal you're actually making. And then secondly, I like to make my stuff in a big batch early morning. I'm making everything fresh, and then I put it in the refrigerator, airtight, sealed. Don't put no aluminum foil on top. Oh, I'm gonna have this in 3 days. Put it in an airtight container so that it holds its freshness as long as possible. Okay. Like I really enjoy brown stew jackfruit right now. That's one of my favorite meals that I'm cooking.
What's it? Say it again. Which one is
brown stew jackfruit? Like brown stew. Got the Caribbean feels. Got that coconut rice and peas.
It's just when you say it, like, okay, I've had jackfruit, and I've had it put in place for it. Brown stew, okay, more. Let me hear more.
Well, what you want to know about the actual dish?
Yeah, because that's Caribbean, so I need to hear where that's coming from. What's that hitting on?
What do I put into it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, jackfruit, you use young jackfruit. It's neutral. You can make it taste like anything you want. You want to curry it, you could curry it. You want to brown stew it, you want to barbecue, whatever you want. It's neutral. I season it up real good. And then I pan fry it.
Before you finish the recipe, what's the trick to prepping jackfruit? Because that's the part that I tried it out the can. I tried it fresh cut. Mm-hmm. It's too juicy.
It's too juicy?
Yeah, it'd be too juicy for me. Like to really cook it, you don't want the juices to get in the seasoning. But how do you dry it first, or how do you treat the jackfruit in prepping it for?
You may have to choose a different brand of young jackfruit out of the can that you're using, because the ones that they're still solid chunks. They're not mushy. They're not watered down. When I pour that, they good to go. I pat it and they stay solid.
Okay, so you don't have to dry it out before you fix it.
No, you don't have the brand that I use. I go to an Asian market.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have to dry it out. And you can also go to Trader Joe's. They have cans for $2, and theirs is pretty good too.
$2? They got something there for $2?
$2. If you go to Whole Foods, you can hang it up. That is looking like $5, $6 for a can.
Right, exactly. So we got the brown stew. So come on, continue, because I might be making that this weekend. It's snowing outside.
I actually have a reel of this on my Instagram page. I posted it maybe like 2 weeks ago. So if you go on there, you will see it. But I'll give you like another breakdown.
And I'll share it out. I'll share that out to you.
Okay, got you. You wanna lock in that flavor on the jackfruit. So you wanna pan sear it until it got like a nice crisp on it. Because now you done lock that flavor to the jackfruit. And then you want to go over to the pot, nice little pot. You want to saute down your onions, your ginger, your garlic, your carrots. You can make browning from scratch with like sugar and water, let it brown, or you can use browning out the little container. Then you want to put the jackfruit in there, veggie broth, and the key to this is better than bouillon.
Okay.
You put the better than bouillon, and it's gonna get that. It's gonna give it that. Ooh, okay. And then you want to put some fresh herbs, thyme. You
Okay.
can't like all, but you want to use it in the baggie though. Allspice, stuff like that. Thyme, rosemary, things like that. Let it simmer. I let it simmer on like medium low for like 2 hours. Let that flavor really just everybody getting the taste. Everybody, y'all spinning around, and that's how you make some brown stew jackfruit.
See, I'm still at that point right now. That's why I was like, I gotta call it something else because it's gonna make me go back to that Caribbean spot where I get my brown stew chicken from.
Yeah.
So I gotta because it helps me because the flavoring will never be that.
Right.
It still can be very delicious and very, savory. So it's my mouth is watering now because I'm thinking of the Jamaican spot by me in the round. So you just put that in my mind already. But figuring that out in terms of taste and flavor. So okay, so I'll go back. Let me get my mind over there because I'm hungry now. When you're cooking different foods, so you're using jackfruit. A lot of people are starting to incorporate jackfruit or cauliflower. Or what's your rule for substituting? So you're using the cauliflower instead of the chicken or beef. So how are you? What's the rule for you in substituting for vegans?
It depends on what I'm trying to go for. When I make my crab cakes, I use heart of palm because the flavor is when I shred it up and make the little patty, it's very similar to how a crab cake it flakes and you know what I'm saying. So it just depends on what I'm going.
So I live in Baltimore. We are the kings of crab cakes. So you're not gonna tell me that's the one thing that I refuse to eat. Yeah, because I don't trust people. So if you can make a crab cake that's suitable, I'll send you some Old Bay seasoning. You know, they got the Old Bay hot sauce and everything now. I'll send it to you. But I need you to show and prove this.
Listen.
I need you to show and prove this. I know you're from seafood capital, but yeah, it's still going on.
I did a brunch sale last year in the summer, and my number one selling dish was my crab cakes and creamy coconut grits. So,
okay, I feel you. People may not know better. I'm not saying it wasn't good, but they may not be from Baltimore. Now, if you get a Baltimorean to eat your crab cake, then okay.
Listen, I'm gonna have to take a trip to Baltimore, son. I gotta
Challenge. I got the kitchen for you. Challenge.
Okay. Say
less.
I love a challenge.
We can, we can set up an arrangement where we do maybe a pop-up shop here or something. But that's the first thing I need you to say. Nate, here's the crab cake. I need you to come off the plane with that crab cake.
Okay. No. I need it to be fresh out the pot. I need you to get it sizzling.
A crab cake will be a crab cake no matter when you cook it.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Cook it that night. Bring it that morning.
Got you. Say less.
That's one of the only things, and because I'm from here, it's just like, I can't go to New Orleans, saying I'll make the best gumbo without showing improvement.
Right.
That's say I can't do that. You gotta really prove it. If it ain't money, your roux is too light skinned, and they're not gonna be feeling you.
Got you.
So when you say crab cake, okay, we can do it. I'll believe you in this instance. We have a breaking news thing. Kanye West is allegedly spreading unfounded rumors that Pete Davidson is, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I'm not. Nope. What's that name? The little YouTuber, she'd have got in trouble. I'm not getting into that world. But I'm really excited for you. Anything that I can do to help you continue to push the message of your brand as you're building it. I love working with new entrepreneurs because your minds are just hungry for it and you're eager for it. And I'm seeing so many different entrepreneurs pop up right now. And I'm really excited because I've been I've been trying to be an entrepreneur for many years, and I know how hard it can be. I know, in terms of support, what that is, building an audience, and being consistent. Funding your projects and getting the support around it. So that is definitely something for me. As we're moving, into this new year, where technically first month is over at this point. What is your goal, going through this year?
My main goal is to build up the brand up the brand recognition. I'm actually shopping for a business coach right now so that I can. I feel like I'm very good with being disciplined and structured, but I want to take it to the next level and really hop in the fire and get that real, like, yo, like this, like this, like this. So by the end of the year, I definitely see myself being closer to my goal of being the vegan monster steward. The YouTube will be popping. Right now I have about 1,500 followers on Instagram. I plan to at least at bare minimum double that by the end of the year. So I just plan on continuing to grow the brand.
In terms of what you are looking for in terms of audience, I know right now you're concentrating your attentions on who you can reach within your area right now as you build a brand, but looking in the next 5, 10 years, who do you see your audience being, or how far do you see your reach being in the next 5 years?
I actually see it being global, all across, not just in the United States.
Okay.
Right now, it's not even just in Florida, just locally to Miami. I have people that's in my inbox from Baltimore, from New York, from Cali. They're like, when you come into Arizona, I already have it pretty much expanding in the United States. But in 5 years, you told me 5 years?
5 years.
Australia with it. I'm in Italy with it. Like, it's going up.
As long as I get those plates, you said big plates. As long as I get my big plate, you can go wherever you want to go.
Okay.
But don't play with, and then that crab cake got to be number 1 on the list. I want that as a side. I don't want don't put no bread on it. Don't do that. But I can't wait to see. I love when people have this type of energy for their work and their passion. How will the firefighter side work into that plan as well?
I'm actually phasing it out. I don't believe that where I want to be with my Fine Lemon Lime, the chef food portion of my life, I don't believe that I can fully embody who I know I can be by still being a firefighter. So it's been great. It was my childhood dream, but I'm gonna have to say my piece with it at some point.
It's really amazing, speaking to people who set goals and they accomplish them. And I'm not saying these people don't exist, but we typically work in a world where this is a struggle to find yourself and figure things out. I definitely was one of those people, but it's always amazing to me to be in front of somebody who can say, by this time I'm gonna do this, and now I'm about to do this. Like, you seem like a really good planner. Where did that come from in you?
Honestly, it's just always been there. I've been an athlete, so I've always been very structured, very disciplined. Okay. And it's just been there. It's just in me.
Who do you model yourself after? Like, who are those people that you look up to, or are they culinary greats, or who are those people who inspire you or have mentored you even?
Well, of course, mentorship. I guess I could count my mom. I know you don't count your mom as a mentor, but I definitely look up to her and inspire her in many ways. She was a single mom with 3 kids, and she went to nursing school. So when I look at all this stuff, you know what? My mom was working overnight, coming home, have to put up with the kids, and still got to study. And I don't have no kids. I don't got no real, stuff that I have responsibilities. And if she could finish nursing school with 3 kids, I could do anything. There's no. So I would definitely say my mom.
That's cool. What type of example do you want to, put out there for other young people coming up that may, you represent them? What type of vibe do you want to put out there for them?
Just to chase your dreams. Whatever you want to accomplish, you can do it. The only person in your way is yourself. Like we were talking about earlier, how you said in the industry it's predominantly white men and oh, they won't let you in. You don't have to let me in. I'm gonna go through another door, or I'm gonna create my own door. So whatever goals that you have, whatever you aspire to be, don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because yes, you can, as long as you go ahead and make it happen. That's it. You're your only obstacle.
So how important is representation for you? You know, you're in a field now where even here, you know, we don't typically have a lot of women, specifically Black women, firefighters, or you know, it's more women than probably in the culinary field. But how important was representation for you across the board, and you wanting to now branch out into this new endeavor?
Representation is very big for me. I do understand that, like you said, there's not a lot of, first of all, Black successful people that you can really look up to and da. But there's also, you can't take it like, you're Black, you're doing stuff like positive things. You have to hold yourself to a certain standard. I take it serious.
Mm. And it's really important now because a lot of us, despite there being a Barack Obama, despite all of the firsts that we've had in our probably both of our generations, there's still fields where we are still less than a minority. So representation is always important to me, and it's something that I preach to a lot of my students and a lot of the people that I come in contact, because you don't realize, you know, who was that person that you saw that encouraged you, that looked like you, that encouraged you to do what you can do. And the fact that a lot of us, you know, I'm in the acting side of the arts as well, and I don't see a lot of people. Growing up, I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me that were doing the things that I wanted to do. And it really made me follow my dreams later more than sooner. And I think representation is really key to being successful for others. It's like the thing that we pass along. So fight through whatever you have to fight through to get to where you can get to, because there's somebody watching you. You know, Absolutely. Many of us, it's our family. You know, many of us, we have family members who didn't finish high school, who didn't, you know, who are working, you know, regular, quote unquote, regular jobs and not able to find careers and passion that are looking to us to be successful. And I don't think that should be on our shoulders, but just understand that they are people that are watching you and looking for you to carve a way out. That's why I like the fact that you want to teach new and upcoming and give quality chefs that opportunity, because you know that doesn't happen for us often. Normally, if we're working in a restaurant industry, you may get up to general manager, but that's not even as typical as you just being a head chef or you know in charge of the kitchen. But I love the fact that you want to incorporate that educational component in it, and not just giving people a job, but giving them an opportunity to learn the field, because it's a vast field. You don't just have to be in the kitchen. You know, you don't have to just be in a brick and mortar. There's so many, you know, the idea of a food truck, you know, is now taking over for what a restaurant, because now I can be mobile and still have that thing of a restaurant going on. In terms of what you want to put out in the world now, what are some of those things that you want to do in addition to this culinary art field that you haven't done yet?
That's a good question. Let me see. I've been so focused on the culinary part of it. Well, you know what? Actually, this year I'm starting to do more like events. So that's I'm getting into as well. When I say events, I mean like pop-up shops. So it's giving people opportunity to showcase their brands as well. So I'm hopping into that, but I've been very focused.
We definitely gotta get that pop-up shop going then. Let me get my spring and summer hat going and see what we can figure out.
Listen, that sounds very good. I'm definitely open and ready to collab and fly out. I'm like, you know what? Let me take my talents everywhere, because I'm trying to be global. I can't just stay in Florida. Let me fly out.
Especially if you try to make crab cakes. I'm just saying, I'm not saying your crab cakes are already popping. I'm just saying, to just take them to that next level.
Got you.
Come get something real, and then you be like, okay, I got you.
I'm gonna need the critique from the master. You the You're the OG crab cake.
And I know you're vegan, but you got to at least taste one. So
Okay.
you're like, okay, this is what I'm about to. This is what I'm about to do.
All right.
And I'm about to. That's a challenge I'm gonna give to you.
Okay.
Now, I would love to do a pop-up shop with you. Our summer here, because of the pandemic, it's really been off. But summers here are typically our festivals, and we have everything from the burger festival to the cheeseburger festival, the fry wing festival. But hopefully, this pandemic is, easing up on us. Hopefully, I'm not even going to think about the opposite. We can get back to that because, I'm quite sure even there it's been somewhat of a hindrance, but y'all wilding out in Florida. So I don't think it's been.
What about Atlanta? You ain't saying nothing about Atlanta been open.
Atlanta is over the top. Atlanta is out of control.
They a whole nother country themselves.
Right. I'm nervous and going back to because I have the station that myself and DB are on, like getting there and actually seeing the new space and everything. But y'all Southerners just wild now. I don't know what's going
on. Our lives. We just live our lives.
The water or the sunshine. I don't know. That's why it's snowing. It's snowing in Atlanta right now. They're playing. Y'all not listening. Y'all is not pleased. So as we kind of close out your interview, my question that I typically ask to all of my guests are, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? And what question would you ask to your 100-year-old self?
Well, you said what advice would I tell my 17?
What advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? And what question would you ask to your 100-year-old self?
My 17-year-old self, I would tell to just do what makes you happy.
What makes you happy?
Yeah, if it's in your heart and you feel like, I want to do this, it's something speaking to you, just do it. Don't worry about nobody else. And my 100-year-old self, I would ask, are you fulfilled?
Yeah. So the secret behind the question to the 100-year-old self and the advice to your 17-year-old self, it tells you where you are right now. And from hearing you speak about your passion, you are on a mission of fulfilling your happiness. In terms of the question that you ask your 100-year-old self and the advice to seek that happiness and do the things that make you happy. And then you ask your 100-year-old self where you fulfill. That should be confirmation of what you're feeling right now.
Absolutely.
And periodically, if you ask yourself those questions, those two questions as a meditation or just like a daily, meditation prompt, it's going to tell you where you are in that moment. If you ever find a place where you may be hitting a brick wall or you feeling sluggish, ask those two ages that information and you'll understand where I'm at right now. You gave a very direct answer to where you are right now. You are doing something that is very scary, very financially, a risk, but you are finding your happiness in it. And it's the difference between a career and a job and your passion and the things that make you happy. A job will always pay the bills, sometimes, not the way they're paying nowadays. But, and even having a career, it could be financially fine. But if you're not happy in it, I have a problem with people telling our children not to go to college. They can, go to YouTube University or go to a trade school, but those things may be true for one or two of those students, but not for all of them. And I'm all for, people finding that happiness, even if it costs you your comfort for a moment. Because that discomfort is preparing you for what that journey is going to be like. And I love to see young Black people in general, really fulfilling their goals and finding that space to be themselves. Because I'd rather be 80 years old, fulfilled in life, and have a couple dollars in the bank versus have $1 million and I'm still unhappy. We've seen several celebrities and rich people who killing themselves right now because they don't feel the money isn't enough.
Right.
Finding that passion is very important. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for coming on, taking the time from your cooking, from getting my crab cakes together, and, my cookies and such, to to come on the show. Lastly, give out your social media again, where we can find you, where people can book you if they want to bring you to their city, their town, speaking it forward.
You know what? I love that. You're absolutely correct. My YouTube is Fine Lemon Lime. My Instagram is Fine Lemon Lime Official. And you can email me any inquiries at fflemonlime@gmail.com.
Okay. So I appreciate you. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your night. I hope the weather isn't horrible there. And be safe out there while you transitioning from this career to that career. Just be safe out there and enjoy yourself. Wear your masks, social distance, all that jazz, because we need you together and healthy for our pop-up shop with my friend.
Speak on that. I'm definitely going to step in with you. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm wishing you all the best in your endeavors as well. We will be linking. I'm gonna have to get right for you. I'm gonna have to get these cookies.
Whenever you have something new coming up, you got a different phase, call me and you come on the show, promote it, and I'll push it out for you as well. And it's mutual. You know, as much as I need the help, I'm going to give it as well. So much luck and much success in your future and all that you do, man.
Thank you. Same to you as well.
Thank you. So we have a couple more minutes left in the show, and I'm going to give that to these people. Currently, we have some news. Is this story true about Kanye? It says news in Texas, over 200,000 signed petitions to free brothers after they beat stepdad to death after they found out he was raping 9-year-old sister. They faced capital murder and held on $1 million bond. I saw that story, and I felt some kind of way about it, because typically it's like the wife that's being beat and she decides to kill her husband. Or we had a scenario where I think a young lady had been kidnapped, and she eventually killed or tried to kill the person who had kept her in hostage. But they always come down on that person. But nobody is ever there to really defend that person from the things that they're going through. And if the crazy thing for me is, if he was raping the 9-year-old sister, did he touch the brothers at all? Because it is an extreme reaction to that. I'm not saying it's not normal or an instinct, because I would definitely kill somebody for my sister or my nieces if I found out that was happening. And I'm saying it. You can mark this, make it a meme, because if somebody was to ever touch any one of my nieces, I have 4 nieces and a sister, and if somebody was to ever touch them, it would be go time. So I get that. I understand that. But I'm curious as to if anything happened to the boys, the 3 brothers. I think I saw their photo.
So I think that they're older.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think he was targeting the youngest child.
I'm not even saying to him, but I'm saying had anything, because if this is going on in a household at this point, what was going on when they were younger? Or because some of them don't look that much younger.
This is a stepdad, so this is the mother's new husband.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but they didn't look like my age. They look like they may have been early 20s.
It really doesn't say when the mother married them, but they're
right.
like 17, 18. I think one of them was 19.
Okay, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So did this happen to any of them? Because sometimes it's happened to them and they've been able to fight him off, but just finding out that he did it to the sister too was like, maybe I'm over the edge. But I saw the story and it's just, I don't, for me, and I actually just had this argument last night with someone. Mental disorder is, and I walk a fine line in as I describe pedophilia, rape, molestation as a sickness because it is. My perspective on this is so my argument last night was, do you send this man to jail or do you put him in a facility? Which one would you do, Ron?
Are you talking about these kids?
Well, no, not the kids, like the dad. Well, the dad, if had they caught the dad before they killed him, would you have put him in jail or would you have put him in a facility?
Are you talking about a medical facility?
Yeah.
I think he would have went to jail because he knew exactly what he was doing. He's a grown man.
So, but we say, and I'm not, again, so leave all your hate shit to yourself. I'm saying, for me, this type of behavior doesn't just happen. It's not, I don't feel like it's a choice. Not excusing the behavior.
So you said there might be other, then you must then equate that to that there might be other victims?
Yeah, I tip because you don't just start doing this.
Right, so
don't just happen. Mm-hmm. Even if you know, and I question, not to say that it probably did happen to the boys, not that it would make a difference, but who else has he done this to?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
I mean, but what is the end result? So when you say the definition between incarcerated and or facility, medical facility, what's the result? Is he locked in the medical facility forever? Or
yeah, because typically, but so my issue with just putting someone in, my issue with just putting someone in jail, and in a lot of cases, you're gonna let them out eventually. So you let them out and they sit in jail and either stewed over being angry because they was caught, or their crazy has intensified because now they're around other people who do this and have given them hints to how to do this in a different way, and then you let that person out. And they do it again. We have so many cases of people doing it again, you know, when they go into jail, because jail is not typically a rehabilitation space, not the jails that, you know, are out now, especially these private jails. They're just ways to make money off of prisoners. But I would say put this person in a facility. A lot of people feel putting someone in a facility is a slap on the wrist or a cakewalk. And I don't think so, because if you're getting the same intense care that you would be getting as an inmate, or say they do this amount of time and then they have to go to a facility, or they have to go to a facility, and if they've been evened out, you know, or some type of resolve has been put in them, then send them to jail to finish out their time. But don't just send them to the jail. And I only have this issue with people that they are planning to let back out into the general public.
It's kind of interesting because I would have said if this was a grown person that had been raped, it would probably have been that rape victim's prerogative.
Right.
Because being released means the torture could happen, you know, re-traumatization to that victim.
Yeah.
You know, having that person being re-released. This is a 9-year-old who is going to have to deal with this now for the rest of their lives. It's not like you're going to forget about this.
And see, that's the problem with just putting someone in jail, though. That's the problem that I have with just putting someone in jail, because not that young person needs help. And I hope that they are getting beyond just social workers. I hope they're really getting the help that they need.
But that's even if they're not as far gone to even receive the help.
I still, regardless, because anybody can turn around. But I think what happens is, and
yeah, but do you deserve the right to turn around after this torture that you've done? You put upon somebody else as a grown man.
No, well, okay, so we're talking about two different people receiving help. So the victim receiving help is, I think, it's very necessary.
Right.
But in terms of like the rapist, like is for me, for R. Kelly being in jail, what help is he receiving right now? Or is he expected to do this?
And I don't think his incarceration is about his health. I think his incarceration is about keeping him off the streets from doing it again.
Yeah, but what happens when they just let Bill Cosby out? So who's to say they would?
You know, in this situation with R. Kelly, this is
Right.
not just happenstance or had it happened just recently. This is something you was
Right.
tried for previous and won.
But I get all that. But what if they let him out, like at the age of 80?
Mm.
Like for me, it's always because anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't think Bill would be getting out this soon, and he did.
Yeah.
So who's to say he would not? That thing in him wouldn't happen again, and him wanting to do it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but who is this 80-year-old? I mean, because if we're looking at it in the perspective of an 80-year-old, who is this 80-year-old going to be able to traumatize besides somebody in his family?
But it happens.
Not going to keep every little child away from it. I don't know. I mean, that's just what I'm hoping they would do.
But it's always, but see, the children that are, specifically children who are affected by this are typically children who people are not watching. And who aren't, that person who believes Bill didn't do anything. And I don't want to keep using his name, so I'll say X didn't do anything. And I believe in him. And then he fucks with your child. Or somehow he gets in touch with a neighbor's child. Or Bill Cosby is famous, so you'll know who he is, but typically you don't know who these people are. If you go on a sex offenders registry list, there are a lot of blank spaces because they did not file.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't register, or they moved and didn't. The law is that they register, but they don't have to if they don't want to, or if they move to another city, they don't have to register in that neighborhood. And if you don't know where they're coming from, you don't know which area they were in to even find their name.
They are supposed to register.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they don't have to. They're supposed to register, and it's breaking the law when you don't. So that is.
So your name is on the registry regardless.
Right.
But if you don't update the information,
you don't update the address, then you are crime.
You could be in another city, another space. You never put your photo on there, so anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, that I don't know why, because typically when we hear about somebody molesting a child, we go back into their past and realize somebody did it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not defending that person, but I understand now we have.
No, I get totally what you're saying in the psychosis of it all.
Yeah.
Typically trauma that happened to that person.
Because this little girl could grow up to do this to other people,
mm-hmm.
or she can become promiscuous. I'm not saying that's always the result.
She's more than likely going to be in counseling for the rest of her life. She's a child that has suffered trauma and then probably witnessed her stepdad being beat to death, because that's what happened.
Yeah.
So she got trauma on two ends, watching her brothers commit the trauma to her.
Kill her father.
By killing somebody that was, doing something that traumatized her.
But in this case, it was her father. So that creates a whole, other boundary in it, because we don't know if it began to feel good to her, or if it was normalized behavior for her, or
she welcomed it. I mean, and most likely, in most scenarios, the child typically welcomes it to be closer to their parent. But I don't know if this was her parent. It doesn't say it. It actually doesn't say that it was her father in the story, because they keep using the word stepdad.
I mean, I'm just saying, if that's the man in your home, that's
what I'm saying. I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to say that, because I didn't want to make this story seem like she was having sex with her actual birth dad, because we don't know that.
It just, I've been argued against when it sounds like I'm defending the person. And
no, these are relevant questions on both sides of the story. I do agree with you. These are relevant questions on both sides of the story.
But it's because I always look at, because they said the same thing about R. Kelly. They said he was molested by his sister. His brother came out and said that. So I always, there's a part of me that says we can't just let this person just jump out there off the cliff and become this villain, because where were we when it was happening to them? But at the same time, the idea of them being adults, understanding isn't always as clear as some of us may see.
Mhm.
Because we may be doing things that may be questionable if somebody was looking at it.
Mhm.
And so I think we often judge people based on that. But I'm just like, if you're gonna let this man out, or if he would have got caught before they killed him, and you let, because typically, pedophiles get out within 10 years, sometimes less than that.
Mhm.
So you let this person back out and you haven't given them any type of rehabilitation. And we expect for adults to heal themselves and get themselves together. And if that was the right, if that was the case,
two brothers and a friend.
also they wasn't all three brothers. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. I saw the photo of them and it was a jarring story.
Brothers were 18 and 17.
See, so they may have been out of the house, but they may have lived with this man before. So that's why the first thing I asked were maybe one of them affected by, if not both of them, affected by the same thing. And then I'm wondering how did they even find out? Did
Well,
they him?
now that there's more than one, it does become, I think it's three. It has to be three to make it a serial. But here's the interesting part about it. It says he had an arrest warrant for sexually abusing another child.
See, yeah. That's why I first started that question. Like, it's not something you wake up and just do. I mean, it's always your first time doing it, but typically that's a lot earlier than what we catch you doing. It's just this is because you had posted the other thing, and because of Tasha K, I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But even with Kanye, I'm stuck on the mental illness part of it. Like, I feel like as Black people, we villainize people for having mental disorders. And I understand when your mental disorder gets to a point where you are harming other people, molesting other people, beating other people, that's when it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't do anything. It was funny or it's something we laughed at up until that point. But we villainize people for being crazy. Like, we can see Kanye being a genius. I liken Kanye to, I cannot remember his name. I just was talking about him. But it was another musician who ended up jumping out of a window. And I cannot think of his name, years ago, like in the 70s, I believe. And he was a musical genius. Kanye's a musical genius who is off. You can see early videos before his mom died, years before, when he was like young, a teenager, early 20s, and he was thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't just get crazy. I think his money allowed him to be more eccentric, but I don't think he just got crazy. And people are like bashing him for being off. But I'm really sympathetic to somebody who has a struggle that they can't control. And I feel like a lot of these people, it is not just take your medication, because sometimes this medication makes them go in the opposite direction of their crazy, but it just be more intense on that side, the other extreme of it.
Yeah.
I would love to hear more about this case, because I didn't read it, but I saw the headlines for it, and I didn't. What do you think of this? We got a couple of minutes. What do you think of this Tasha K issue?
It don't change anything for me, because I believe in facts first before I start talking.
Right.
And I believe also in the word allegedly, because you're not going to put something in front of something if it's not true. And that
people are misusing allegedly now.
But right, but that was her problem. She said she has herpes.
Yeah.
Not allegedly.
She said the baby had herpes.
Right.
Yeah.
She basically said, I have confirmation that she has it.
Right.
And you did not have that. You heard rumors because no one told you that. You didn't hear it from her mouth that she had it, because it's the only person that can confirm anything to you without having documentation. That was her problem. And that's why she lost, and that's why she has to pay that money.
But did you see the response she made after the fact?
Actually saw none of this. I just know that she lost.
Well, she has to pay now 3 point, and the thing about
it went up. I saw 1.5.
It's up to 3.8 million now. It can go up more.
Oh, but that's the thing. That is divided between the two, her and the company that she's representing too. So I think her portion of it is still 1.5 million.
Well, no, that's her company. That's her company.
It was her partner company.
No, that's her company. She has sponsors, so she may have tried to make it seem like that, but those people not gonna take the blame for that. They gonna throw her ass under the. Her husband is supposed to be the president of it, and she's been listed as an employee. But that's their business together. They're fucking married. But she has to. It's up to 3.8 million. She has to pay her hospital bills, the mental health bill, and the damages. But the interesting thing that I just found out, you can't have judgments discharged in terms of damages. You can't have those discharged. You may can have insurance on them, but you can't have.
Are you talking about as far as bankruptcy is concerned?
Yeah, she can't file for bankruptcy. She can still file for bankruptcy, but they're not gonna take that off of it. But they're not gonna take that off of it. So she made an official statement a couple days ago, but you can tell she has not learned her lesson. She's made this about Cardi B being a rapper representing prostitution and drugs and violence and how it's affecting children. It was a half an hour of this fuckery. And she really just, you can tell, one, she's a narcissist, but you can tell she has not, you just had a $3.8 million judgment against you because of your lies that you admitted to in court, and you're still not taking. I could see her still saying all those things and saying, you know what, I was wrong. I reported on information that I did not have facts for. She didn't do any of that. She didn't take any responsibility. She's claiming that she's going to continue to appeal, which is, Miss, why are you appealing this? Because technically, Cardi B can now sue her in a civil case now. And Cardi B can take that judgment that she just got and take it to YouTube and possibly get her page shut down. Because there's a judgment against her. But yeah, I'm over this. The world is ghetto.
Very much so.
It is. But I'm happy Cardi won. I had a feeling she was going to win. But I think, and even the way you just said it, I just think it's still going to, we're still, as people who are on the internet or YouTube, we have to figure out ways of reporting, because we're not going to be able to do the things. I'm not saying that we've ever done anything wrong, but we still have to go from a place of not just factual information, but making sure we're not creating narratives about people. Because that's going to be a tricky field for people who are in this field. Like, you can report on factual information, but this idea of creating these narratives based off of factual information is still going to be a sticky situation. Like, I see a lot of people channels getting cut down.
But that was also our problem too, because it wasn't like she was crediting a source, that she heard this from a source like TMZ or something like that. She was saying it was factually
right. Well, this came from the person who was supposed to be, and that's why I don't realize, and Cardi probably didn't sue her because she ain't got nothing. The girl that was alleged she was her roommate when they were strippers. That's where the rumors of her having a disease came from. But
and that's still third party.
But I think I'm surprised that it was only 3.8 million because, and they probably went into how much she made. They probably figured all that out too. But it was she was making videos. She was one of her sponsors had this, I think it's called Pangea, and they were claiming that they could get rid of herpes or certain STDs or illnesses. And she was putting Cardi B's photo in it while that commercial was playing. So all of that missed, and then she up into you are in court, and these videos are still collecting views. Like it was, and I'm sure her lawyers told her you have to take them down. These videos. What was that? Hello?
That was me. Go ahead.
I was like, what the fuck is that? What's going on over there? But yeah, it was, and of course there were no cameras or nothing in court. So you were reporting on the people who had been there, but it's still, her response at the end showed me why she lost. She had no remorse, none. And then we learned that Cardi B asked her several times before she even sent her a cease and desist. Hey, can you take them down? And at that point, it wasn't, she had 38 or 32 videos of her calling her this and talking about this and promoting it. And I think when Cardi talked to her, it was probably just a handful of them. And you still made videos throughout this process of having the court case prolonged. And she was making it seem like, oh, that $4 million is nothing for me. That's nothing. That's nothing. And Funky Dineva has already said, I've been doing this for 12 years and she ain't got it. She can act like it, but she ain't got it. But yeah. So thank you for everybody for listening. I am really, I'm done for today. I'll be back next week. Don't forget, we're doing a monthly series in conjunction with the You Thought I Was Him production that's coming up in November.
Stop rocking before we lock you away. Stop rocking before we lock you away.
Production that's coming up in November. Why are you playing me back?
I'm sorry. I keep pressing that button and it keeps coming back.
But yes, so I'm happy about that. Next month we'll be interviewing Mesa. Hopefully we can bring her on this platform as well. So look out for that one. And we'll be interviewing a number of people connected to the project, both via community, artistry, so on and so forth. So please stay tuned to the Artist Exchange. We have much more coming. If you want to bring your show to Be Exposed Radio, hit us up at info@beexposedradio.com. And put in the message box, I want a show. When you send us messages in terms of if you want to be on a show, be sure to include information on who you are. So we can, go through your stuff and see who you are and see what show is suitable for you to come on. One of these days, Monty is going to come back and do his show.
Very soon, because just to put this out there, my very first show would be a tribute. So,
I do. I didn't just see that, but I forgot to say that last week. But Lindsay, I said her name right.
Yeah.
Lindsay, who typically was on Monty's show, and I think she was with you when you first started your show.
Yes, we joined. Actually, no, she joined me at WFDR Radio.
Okay. She passed away about a week or so ago.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give a shout out to her family. I know this time during the pandemic, burying someone, let alone the mourning process, just definitely burying someone is very difficult because it's a prolonged process. And you may find and it's probably not as bad as it was at the peak of this pandemic, where people were waiting up into a month or two to be buried, if they could be buried the traditional way. But I know it's not easy on people because you just don't mourn the same. Because we don't have that, that week that we typically spend with the family and loved ones. You don't typically have that right now. and none of the venues, some venues are opening up so you can have like a repast and such, but you don't get the funeral experience because that's shortened even, they try to get you out there by noon. That's even a shorter process now. So people just stay safe, and just reach out to your family members. I wanted to, remark on Regina King's son killing himself. Um, he had a promising career as a chef, a personal chef. He had cooked for many of her famous friends, and he was going through I think he was about 26, and he was just going through a deep depression where he didn't feel seen. And I'm sure in private, she was getting him all the help that he needed. But just check on your family members who have been solo going through this. It's not, some of us try to laugh it off and we try to be strong, but in the last couple months, I went through a really dark phase. Okay, I'm finishing up. A really dark phase of just not wanting to go out anymore and not wanting to be around people and pushing people away. And luckily, I still was able to do the show, but the last basically for December, I didn't even do my show because it had gotten to a really heightened space. But just check on your loved ones. And mental disorder is real. So we're not going to villainize or criminalize people simply because they have an imbalance. Give people the help when you see it. Encourage them to get the help that's needed or go over their heads and get them the help. If it's police or medical or whatever it may be, get the help that's necessary. And mental health is for all of us. So peace out. I'll see you all next week. It'll be February. So we're thinking about love and Black History Month and all that good jazz. So get ready. Fridays, 5 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com. That's the Artist Exchange. Peace out, people.